and more sunshine, temperatures in the 80s. We might even get up by the weekend into the mid to upper 80s. Might even see 90 on Sunday again. This up and down roller coaster ride is crazy. In studio right now is Sheriff Rob Maciol. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
You should never ask that question.
Okay, I won't. I'll retract that.
And I'd say the same to you. I mean, you've been busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. This case here with the chiropractor is sad and, again, surreal. It's a bizarre story.
Very unique. And like I said, the past 2 weeks at our office, you talk to some of our people who have been working for us for decades. They've never seen it so busy, first off, but busy with unique things we've never dealt with before.
Yeah.
We've had poisonings in the past, so that's not one of them. But, you look at the bombing, or, a couple of the other things we've dealt with, it's a first. And
the bizarre story around the bombing, which is something,
Yep.
if you had a group of people in a room and said, all right, this is what happened, now I want you to come up with what you think caused it, you'd never be able to do it. And the same thing here.
And the same thing here.
Yeah.
In both those cases, I think on the law enforcement side, the one thing that stands out so much in both of them was the cooperation amongst unique agencies. This case here, one of our key partners in this poisoning case was the Utica College cybersecurity lab.
Interesting.
Utilizing some very unique technology. So
it's because we're dealing with a poison. Let's start from the beginning on this story.
Sure.
A woman arrested yesterday.
Yes.
This has been a long investigation going on. Yep. Seems that she was close to the family.
She was close to the family. She worked for the family business for quite some time. And when Dr. Yoder passed away, obviously there was an autopsy done. There's a period of time that people, the media keeps inquiring about that gap in time. But as you know, toxicology reports take a long time to come back.
Yeah.
And family contacted our office because they just did not feel right about the circumstances. That this would have happened, like natural causes.
Yeah.
So they just felt very strongly that something was up.
So the chemical we're talking about here is called colchicine? Colchicine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's
and
typically used it's a gout medicine, but the form that was used here in this one-time poisoning was a research form, a very potent form. And if you look that up, the colchicine, it's some pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And again,
you'd have to do some research to know. The average person is not going to know. I wouldn't have any idea what.
That is correct.
And I also it takes a lot for we humans to make that decision. There's always that little line that says maybe that crazy thought crossed your mind. You're like, well, I could never do anything like that. Mm-hmm. But you're taking potentially. You're alleging that this woman, young lady, 23-year-old Caitlin Conley, you guys allege that she decided to take this woman's life?
Right. And
that she was close to?
At this point, we can't get into the motive. That'll all eventually come out. But
okay.
In the same thing on how the colchicine was obtained, that'll all come out. And I think people can just look at the various charges that she was charged with and kind of put two and two
together. There's a paper trail. Clearly there was a paper trail, though.
Yeah, quite lengthy.
Yeah.
But, again, very unique. And that's where, like I said, with the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, the Utica College cybersecurity lab, the Utica Police Department, they, again, assisted us. They have been amazing partners in just about every major case we've worked on. This was just a great case, and because of the in-depth investigation, this was all put to the grand jury, and this came down through a sealed indictment on Monday.
I want to ask you on the what happens to someone who is poisoned with colchicine?
What
does it look like? Does it look like a heart attack? Does it look like?
In the end, yes, but the symptoms take a few hours to surface.
Okay,
and they could be various. If you Google or Wikipedia colchicine, it's all there. There are different types of symptoms that come up. Symptoms that obviously for a healthy person are very unique, and which caused her to get taken to the hospital because of didn't know what was going on, and then that next day she passed away at the hospital.
And what do you know what the hospital originally said that she died from?
I do not. No,
okay,
that I don't know.
But it was the family that had suspicion.
Correct. They just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask that, and I know you touched on this a bit. So the family says, "Look, something's not right here."
Yes.
Does it take more than that for you guys to go further and do an autopsy and all these other things?
Obviously the autopsy was already underway. Because when anyone, again, depending on each case is different, but because she passed away, and I think obviously they were concerned as to the cause of death. So obviously the medical examiner's office is contacted by the hospital, and they start their process
Looking for something.
looking to try to find cause of death, and they go down a checklist like every time there's an autopsy, and then as you're checking things off as to what didn't cause this person's death, that list, as it gets smaller, and like I said, the family, because of, she was obviously a young, healthy person.
She was,
felt
the
that
deceased is Louise Yoder. She was 60 years old.
Yes.
Which by our standards today is young.
Right. And again,
Can I-
chiropractic doctor, and,
Right.
and again,
Healthy, probably.
very healthy lifestyle, everything that would.
I want to ask, is this a drug that, let's go to the CSI and the movies and all of that. Is this a drug that someone in the stories or the novels that are written, is this the type of drug that someone would use because it wouldn't be obvious that they were poisoned? It might be mistaken at a medical examiner.
It's actually a very good question, and I don't know the answer to that.
All right. I kind of wondered, did the medical examiner walk away and say, "Yeah, natural cause of death. This is crazy. It happens to people." But then the family came in and said,
I'm assuming that in a case like this, the person who did that was thinking just what you were saying, that this isn't going to get detected because of I'm pretty confident that their idea came from somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So you find something online, or you do,
or just obviously TV shows today talk about they get into a lot of unique things.
When will we be able to know what?
Well, today she's in court. There's a hearing today. I don't know the exact time, and then obviously from there, again that with her attorneys to work that out, whether it's going to go to a full trial or not. I don't know at this point.
It's been a bizarre year so far.
It has. Like I said, I can't thank our people enough. Some of our people have worked between all these cases, and then on top of that, we had one day where we thought it was going to be quiet, and that's the day we had the stabbing in Augusta. At the same time, we had a bomb threat at Verona Bosse's, and at the same time, we had the teacher get assaulted in Holland Patton. Those three incidents happened the same exact time. On the one day, our investigators thought they were going to be able to take a break here and try to get caught up on some stuff. So it's just been really busy.
Well, one thing that comes out of this, I think, and we're looking at right now, we're focusing on Orlando and how it seems that all these governmental agencies talk to each other.
Yes.
The FBI was doing interviewing. I didn't have enough on the guy, but there are other people saying, it was obvious what he was losing it, and he was ready to kill people. One thing I see here, and correct me, I believe you'll agree with me, is that everybody worked together here. The agencies that you normally don't work with, everybody came in. It was flawless.
And I could not say enough about how cooperative the FBI was with the bombing, the ATF. Obviously, once the FBI in our bombing case felt confident that terrorism wasn't associated, they kind of backed away. But when they did, they said, whatever resources that we have that you need, Sheriff, it's a phone call away. It's yours. It's at your disposal. So they were, I couldn't ask for more cooperation from them. And it's in the Orlando thing, when I got that news, when I was alerted Sunday morning, I was like, you start thinking in your mind, where are our soft targets? What do we do? Do we boost, obviously we changed a couple things at a couple events that were happening over the weekend just to make our presence known and, make people feel more responsible. And then the after, when I'm looking at things, the one thing that I get a little frustrated with is the tools that we have to use now to do our job, and it's the same tools that certain people in the federal government are trying to take away from the police all the time. And I know Steve mentioned it a few minutes ago, but you talk about the Bearcat, that armored vehicle that our SWAT team uses that we bought. Again, that's the vehicle that stopped the shooters in San Bernardino. That's what they did the traffic stop with. This Bearcat is the vehicle that blasted through the back of this nightclub to go in to kill the shooter, to take him out. That's the very vehicle that, like I said, folks at the high level in federal government don't want the police to have. But you know what? Without that stuff, we can't do our job. And it's just times have changed. Policing is so much different now. Sure, the frontline police officers, we want them to connect with people on a low level, a very friendly level. But at the same time, when we have to bring out the big guns, we need to have those pieces of equipment. We need to have the training. We need to have the personnel. And it's a huge cost. I get that, and sometimes people aren't comfortable with those things. But just
Well,
imagine if we didn't have a
right.
SWAT team, in San Bernardino or in Orlando, what would those numbers be?
And of all places, Orlando.
Exactly, the
it's not
vacation land of the world.
You would never expect this stuff going on in Orlando. Andrew, last question.
So just talking about cooperation with other agencies, sometimes we talked about how this is something out of this most recent case in Sequoia, something out of or Whtesboro, something out of CSI. Usually, sometimes you see this kind of egotistical fight between local police and agencies. That doesn't really exist, does it? I mean, it seems like everybody's been pretty cooperative.
Everybody's
at least here locally.
Yeah, everybody's been great. Occasionally there's those little turf battles you deal with now and then, but those things, when you have someone that gets murdered, you have someone that gets blown up with a bomb. All that stuff that some of these other people fight about all the time, that means nothing. That really does. In the big scheme of things, that stuff means nothing. Or you look at 53 people killed,
Right.
Who cares who's making the arrest? Who cares who gets the credit for the arrest?
Yeah.
Let's just get the bad guy off the street to keep our people safe. That's our main goal.
All right, Sheriff Maciol, appreciate it. Thanks
Thank you
so
very much.
Got a break. Come right back here. We'll give you a chance to win some money here this morning at WIBX.